We're in a 2009 Honda Civic. We're going to do a OEM remote activated remote starter. Just going to use the OEM key fob to activate remote start. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start with a disassembly. Some of these Civics have a pad under here we would have to unclip. This one doesn't have the pad. Okay. After we remove the underdash pad, which this Civic doesn't have, I'm going to remove the underdash itself. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to apply some outward pressure on it, and we're going to remove it. Use a plastic tool to get it started. We're just going to release all the clips by pulling out on the dash. Now we're going to remove the steering column plastic cover, 3 Phillips screws. Go ahead and we're going to remove them. Okay, we're going to telescope the wheel full outward position. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to lock it. We're going to apply pressure to the side while we pull down on the column plastic. And this will release the steering column cover. Okay, at this point we have access to the main ignition plug. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start the installation. In order to plug the system in, we're going to be dealing with 2 plugs. We're dealing with the main ignition plug and the immobilizer plug. We're going to go ahead and we're going to plug both of them. I'm going to press the release clip and unplug the immobilizer, and we're going to press the release clip and unplug the main ignition plug. We're going to go ahead and we're going to plug our T-harness assembly into these 2 plugs. We're going to plug in our T-harness end into the ignition switch. We're going to make sure it locks into place. Then we're going to plug our vehicle ignition plug into the other side of the T-harness. And again, we're going to make sure it locks into place. We're going to plug our immobilizer plug from our T-harness into our immobilizer. Make sure it locks in. And we're going to plug our immobilizer plug into the T-harness. Again, we're going to make sure the plug locks. At this point, we're ready to ground our system. We found a ground spot underneath the dash. It's a junction point for vehicles' wires to ground here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to loosen the bolt and ground our system here. Our ground must be free of plastic and other non-conductive materials. Okay, we've grounded our system here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to tighten the bolt back up. We're going to make sure that we've got all the rings that came out when we took the bolt out back in place before we tighten the ground up. Okay, we're ready to begin system programming. To begin the programming procedure, we want to remove all the plugs from our device. There's a program button located on the top of the device. We want to hold the program button down while inserting the main power plug. When we do this, the lights will begin to cycle. We want to release on solid red. If we miss it, we keep the button down, the lights will cycle back around, and we release on solid red. We can always pull the plug and redo the procedure. We're going to press and release the program button 1 time. The red light will go out and come back on, and we're going to press and release the program button again. The red light will blink. We're going to turn the ignition to the run position. The red LED will flash. The blue LED will flash. we're going to turn the key to the off position and remove it. Our device is programmed. At this point, we should be able to activate the remote start using our 3 lock. The vehicle has successfully started. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to hold the brake pedal to shut the vehicle off. Okay, we're moving on into the driver's kick panel to lock connections that must be done, and they must be done in this order. You must install the device, program the device, and then connect the locks, just like you see in the video. I'm going to show you which harness they're coming through in. Actually, coming through the door boot, you can look in here and you can see the plug that they reference in the installation manual. There's 2 harnesses. They come into this gray junction here. Looking for 2 wires on this harness, the green and the gray wire. The green is our lock wire, the gray wires are unlocked. We're going to go ahead and we're going to have to connect to these, even if we're doing just a standalone application. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to move some of the tape, and we're going to look for our wires. Look right here, I have a dark green and I have a gray, and they're both the same gauge. Kind of a smaller gauge. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to test them. I'm using a regular test light that'll put a ground on these, and when I do that, it's going to make the locks lock or unlock depending on which wire I probe. So we're going to go ahead and probe the dark green. Listen. There's our door lock. I'm going to probe the gray. There's our door unlock. So these are our lock and unlock connections that we need to get in our kit. Go ahead and I'm going to tap them. You're welcome to do strip and wrap connections or posi taps, or ISIN T-taps with the kit. They're plenty large enough to tap. They're quite tappable, so we're going to go ahead and use the T-taps. We have both T-taps in place. I'm going to look on my device, and we're going to have terminated labeled ends for lock and unlock. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to unband our wires, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to route them over to our spot. Our blue wire is going to go to our lock wire, which is our green. And our white and black is going to go to our unlock wire, which on the Civic is gray. Okay, at this point, the only connections we have left are the parking light connections for this application. Now, the door lock connections must be made to keep the OEM remote active during remote start, and they must be made after the unit is programmed. Okay, you're looking at the parking light switch of the vehicle. The guide that I'm going to send you shows a picture of the parking light switch plug, and there's a wire on the parking light switch plug that we can go ahead and we can apply a negative signal to activate the parking lights. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unplug this and show you the plug unplugged. Okay, our instructions show the parking light switch plug with the clip orientated in the up position, and we're looking at the plug from the back where the wires enter. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at our plug, and we're going to match up the wire that they're saying is the parking light wire. This would be the negative parking light trigger. Okay, if we're looking at our plug from the back, then according to the instructions, our parking light activation wire is this gray wire right here. Second pin in on the bottom, the gray wire. Okay, when we're using this gray wire to activate the parking lights, we need to use the smaller gauge pink wire from our device. We need to make sure that if we're activating the lights with a negative signal, we have a negative output going to our parking lights from our device. Inside of our Civic, we're going to activate the remote starter. Okay, our vehicle has started. And we're just going to confirm that our vehicle is still locked. And then we're going to use our factory remote to unlock the vehicle. Okay, so our remote is staying active while the vehicle is running. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to shut the vehicle down.